Hi everybody, Kelly here from the Modern Day Tarot. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. All the information on how to book a reading with me is down below this video in the information section. All my other information for my social media pages are all down there below as well. All right, let's get started with your reading. Hey Leos, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. Welcome to your August 2019 reading, and happy birthday to the Leos out there that are watching. Okay, guys, I gotta say right off the bat, when I pulled your cards, I immediately was taken back by, we have the Hermit and the Death card that came up. Death is all about transformation and change, okay? But we'll get to this here in a minute. This month, you guys are really doing some inner work, and that doesn't surprise me at all, especially with Chiron being in retrograde right now in the sign of Aries, and will be all the way up through December of this year, I believe it is. And Aries is your 9th house of mental explorations. All right, so you guys are going to be doing some inner work, which is exactly what the Hermit does. This is Major Arcana. And also the Hermit can represent a Virgo sign person, so that may resonate with some of you on some level, where maybe you are dealing with a Virgo sign or someone that has the characteristics of a Virgo earth sign person. But on a much deeper level, when it comes to the Hermit, this is inner work. That's exactly what the Hermit does. If you see in the illustration here, try to get it to where it's not glaring, but this is an old man. He has gone through a very long life. He has a tremendous amount of wisdom, and now he's taking his light and he's looking at where he's been along his path and where he's going and what has he learned. And that takes a time to do some meditation, do some inner work, where you start to think about, you know, where am I right now? Where have I been? Where am I going? You're doing some serious thinking about things that have been going on in your life. And I'm seeing this with a lot of Leos. And this can feel, you know, really unfamiliar for you guys, because you are such a vivacious, you know, fire sign. You guys are, I mean, the Sun, the card in tarot, that's your card. You are everybody's, you know, sunshine. When you come into a room, you light the room up. So this can feel very uncomfortable for you when you have to sit down and do some inner work, because things aren't maybe going, or they're not continuing to go in a way that you initially wanted them to, or you're just finding, you know what, I'm ready for a whole new path. I'm ready for a whole new journey. And the number 9 is all about coming to the end of a cycle. And the number 10 is completion. All right, so right now, in the month of August, over your birthday, and the first part of August, Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury are all going to be in your sign of Leo. So for the first part of the month, you are going to be really feeling and thinking about you. It's all about you, Leo. And then the second part of the month, what did I say this card can represent? Virgo. Well, all of those planets, Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury, they all then move into Virgo. And that's your second house of money and finances. So this can have to do with how you make money, all right? Or just, you know, where you want to go with regards to your security and stability. Now, the underlying purpose, the real purpose here, for many of you, here we have the 7 of Wands. Wands is fire energy. This is you guys. This is standing up and defending what you feel, who you are, and what you believe in. So for a long time, you stood up for certain principles. And you didn't have any problem doing it because that's what you believed in. But now, you're kind of taking a step back and thinking, what do I believe in now? What do I really stand for? What do I really want to stand up for? And how do I want to articulate it? And the number 7 is a spiritual number. It's a spiritual, and that's, when we go within like that, that is on a spiritual level. It's on a soul level. And that's, the number 7 is all about spirituality. So you're taking this month, and it's been coming for a while now, Leo, where you've been feeling like, what do I stand for? What do I believe in? What do I want? My wants, my needs, my beliefs. I feel like my purpose is changing. But it's a good change. It's a really good change. And you're feeling it, and you're questioning what that is and how to work through it. Here we have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords has not only learned how to communicate, but he gets in there, and this can be male or female, and he fights for what he thinks, what he believes in. And yes, the Knight of Swords, because the swords is air energy. It's mental, it's our intellect, it's how we think, it's how we communicate. And knights, all the knights are action cards. So this is action energy. This is you deciding what you believe in and what you stand up for, and how and why and when you're going to fight for it and communicate it. And this is a really good time for you, Leo, because things that you used to believe in just, may not be the same for you. And that's okay. We all go through this time in our lives where what used to work for us just isn't working for us anymore. But look at this knight. I mean, he is pretty sure of himself. When you say, look at that. I mean, he's holding a sword. Look at his beautiful bald eagle with its wingspan. This is very powerful, very self-assured, very clear energy. And that's how you need to take a look at what you're feeling at this time as you sit out and decide on the inner work that you're doing. Getting clear with what you're willing to fight for, what you're willing to stand up for. But yes, I will say this, I have to put this out there. The Knight of Swords can get a bad rap sometimes, where because it's all about, communication and the intellect. And Leos can come across egotistical at times and with a very sharp tongue. So I will say that's just something to be aware of for some of you out there, where when you're deciding on what to, fight for, and to think back, were you a little bit more sharp-tongued than you needed to be? That's something, to take a look at. Were you a little too abrasive in what you stood up for? Not that you standing up for what you believed in was wrong by any means, but for some of you, it may be a time to look back at how you stood up for it, as well as why and what. And looking at all of it. Do you still feel that same way? What needs to change? All right, because when the Hermit comes up and the Death card come up, okay, there's major change going on. Major change. And it doesn't happen overnight. Hermit doesn't sit down, take 10 minutes, decide, and boom, he knows. This takes time, and so does the Death card. Now, as we go further, what's blocking you this month also, which is right underneath the Hermit, as you're thinking about and doing that inner work, here we have another number 7. The 7 of Swords. Swords again, the intellect, communication, what we think. And the 7 of Swords is all about, and there can be a few different, this is a tricky card because there can be a few different meanings here. Were you always as honest with what you believed in, or were you always as honest as things came across as you should have been? Because the 7 of Swords is that energy where it can be considered trying to sneak out of a situation without getting caught. It can be considered energy that isn't as forthcoming or as honest as maybe it should have been. Because you see, this individual here in the card, he's hiding behind this very large pillar, and he's holding 5 swords, and he's looking at these other 2 swords, and he's thinking, because he's sneaking out, and he's thinking, should I go back and get those other 2 swords and then sneak out, or should I just take what I need and leave? So because this is in the position of what is blocking you, and because it is swords, and it's, you know, how thinking, it's once again being honest with yourself. First and foremost, you have to be honest with yourself about the what, the why, and the how you stood up for everything you've believed in up to this point. You have to be honest with yourself before you can make any changes. Because if you're not honest, and you're not really willing to see, then you really can't make good changes for yourself, Leo. And you know what? Even if you look back and thought, wow, and I can say this honestly because, you know, there was a Leo in my life. He's no longer in my life, but he unfortunately was a very aggressive Leo and had a very sharp tongue and was overly defensive, but wasn't willing to do the inner work and wasn't willing to be honest. Now, that's not going to apply to all of you, all right? But on a general level, for all of you, be honest with yourself about how you used those swords, because the 5 of Swords, these 5 that he's holding, in the 5 of Swords card, and this is where I just love tarot. I love tarot because in the 5 of Swords, that is a very abrasive, knockdown, drag out, sharp tongue energy where you lash out at somebody verbally. And over and above. The 2 of Swords is all about making decisions, but you're not making good decisions because you don't want to see the truth of the situation. And here together we have being honest about how you've always stood up for what you believe in. Now, on the flip side of that, I know some Leos where it's like totally reversed. They were a very docile Leo, but they didn't stand up for themselves. They didn't, but they need to. And now they're doing the inner work. You need to do the inner work to decide, you know what, I need to start standing up for myself. I need to start speaking up for myself and being honest about what I need. So for some of you Leos out there, it's not that you're being too abrasive. You haven't been firm and set boundaries. Maybe the way you should have. You have been too much of a helper to others, and Leos can do that too. You guys are such energetic and awesome signs, and you want to help people on a general level, but sometimes you may say yes too much instead of standing up for what you need. And that's exactly what the Hermit is all about. You're doing some serious inner work. this month, Leos. Then, being honest, how to go about letting go of that energy, that struggle within yourself, and being honest with yourself. Well, here we go. We come right down to the Death card. Transformation and change. Okay? Number 13, 1 and 3 is 4. 4 is all about stability. When you go through death, and this doesn't happen overnight, just like the Hermit doesn't happen overnight, but when it does, you shed off the old you and you become the new you. Just as anything, death is all about death and rebirth. It isn't just death and then it's dead and gone. It's letting go of what is no longer serving you. So as you're thinking about that and how you used to handle things, whether it was too aggressively or not aggressive enough, and I shouldn't say aggressively, but just setting boundaries, setting proper boundaries is what this message is about this month. And once you do that and you get clear in your mind and you're honest with yourself, regardless of which way it goes, once you do that, then you get the answers you're looking for, and you can make that happen. You can make that happen. Now also, as I'm looking at these cards and I'm looking at all the colors in the cards, I see a lot of blue, and blue is the throat chakra. So once again, this is getting clear about not only what you think in terms of, air energy, but also how to articulate, how to communicate it in the most effective way, in the most positive way, so that you can say what you need to say for what's best for you without feeling guilty in the way that you've done it. Okay? When I add up all the cards and then reduce the number to a single number in terms of numerology, I get the number 10. 10 is all about completion. It's change. It's coming to the end of a cycle so that you can change and transform. That's what 1 through the number 10 in terms of numerology, each number has a vibration. And the number 10 is completion. When you add the 1 and the 0 together, you get 1. Number 1 is starting all over again in a whole new way. You've shedded that old skin, that old way of thinking, being, doing, so that you can move forward in a new way that's better for you. And we all go through it. We all go through this at some point in our lives, because let's face it, we all change. We're changing all the time. I want to get one more card. I'm going to pull a card for this Death card here, as well as the Hermit card. But I'm going to pull, let's get a clarifier for the Death card. Let's get a little bit more in depth. The Death card. Now we know it's all about change and transformation and how to be honest. You have to change, but let's get a little bit more clarification here. Clarifier for this Death card. Clarifier on this Death card. Okay. Look at that. The Tower. Okay. The Tower. 15, 6, number 16th card. Okay. When the Tower comes in, This definitely is swift moving action. When something happens, and that could be the reason why you're going through this internal time right now, Leo, because the Tower is swift moving action. It's also a major arcana. It's the 16th card. 1 and 6 is 7. And what did I say? 7 is all about spirituality. It's on a soul level. That it's time for something major has to change. And in order for you to make this change, you're going to have to do some really serious changing, because that's what the Tower is. It comes in, it clears the decks, and it can be painful. But if you don't do this so that you can clear things away and clear out the old, you're not going to be able, you won't have room to create the new that you need to bring in. So this could be a painful time for many of you, where you're going over things that just are no longer working. And once again, telling people no is never easy. Sometimes we lose, friendships, relationships in all different areas of our lives because we've had to say no. And it's painful when that happens. I've been through it myself. But trust me when I tell you, as painful as it is, you'll be glad you did it, because it's for your soul's growth. It's for your higher self, and you will feel better for it. Okay? I want to get another clarifier for the Hermit here, and then we'll go on to your Oracle card. Let's get a clarifier. What is Leo going over? What's this internal struggle what's going on? Where are they looking at? This Hermit card. I need a clarifier for this Hermit card. All right, we have 8 of coins. This is higher learning. Once again, you are learning new things about yourself. For some of you, because Pentacles is it's our money, it's our finances, it's it's that second house, which for you guys that's what the second part of the month is all gonna is gonna be about. It's because those those planets are going to be in Virgo, so that's your second house of money and finances. So you will definitely be thinking about your money and finances. And the 8 of coins is about higher learning. So you all are on a quest to do some inner work, higher learning, whether it's on a financial security level, whether it's just, you want to emotionally feel more secure, or you want to start doing something or learn something that gives you a new sense of security and confidence within yourself. So a lot of you are going to be feeling this on some level in the month of August. Let's take a look here at your Oracle card. Co-creation. 4 and 8 is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 is all about creation. Hello. Creation, birth, rebirth, transformation, so that you can create. So let's get a closer look at co-creation. This is an empowerment message, Leo. From the rich red earth, this Navajo goddess, the Spider Woman here, rises up to help you weave your dreams into the fabric of reality. She is here to remind you that your vision of the form of your desire is not as important as its essence. Knowing why you want to create something, what motivates you, what inspires you, and what beauty you're dreaming to bring to life is key at this time. And what did I say? It's not only the what, but the why, the how, all of that. What you stand for. What needs to be cleared away so that you can create something new. Transformation. Okay? The collective dream is being manifested by the co-creative relationship between the imagination and the universe. So, call to the best within you and weave your world into being with intentionality and humility. Hello, be honest with yourself. And that takes humility. Because not all of us, it's not always easy to be honest with ourselves, especially when we look back and think, wow, I feel bad about, how I may have handled that or handled this and how I stood up for things. But we all have been there. And none of us are perfect. Whether you allowed others to walk on you, or maybe you were just a little too sharp with the way you expressed yourself. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. And I hope this message was of help to you, Leo. All the information on how to book a reading with me is down below in the information section. All my other information, my social media pages, all that information is there, along with the cards that I use in these readings. So check that out. And I hope you have an awesome birthday, Leo. Have a great month, and God bless.